So for question number two, as we think about what does student ownership of learning mean to me, I believe that student ownership is when students know what the expectations are. So in my mind, self-assessment or student self-assessment is critical in a classroom, just as conferencing in a classroom where we're identifying or helping students to identify their own strengths and their own areas for growth. So this idea of what does it mean for these opportunities to take place, students need to know what those expectations are, because that's what's going to help drive their ownership and their accountability in that work. The evidence that I've seen that helps teachers to move to a greater sense of ownership is to really have them look at student work. So I think when they bring that work to the table, and they're able to look across and say, in some cases it's like a common assessment, and we're saying, okay, teachers, bring your work with you, bring it, and then we put it all out there and we say, okay, what starts to happen as teachers work together and looking across what students' responses are, um, they then start to ask the question like, well, wait a minute, how did you get those students to do this? I couldn't get my students to do this. So what did you do in order to accomplish this task? And I think as we start to really have those conversations and open up dialogue, that is what helps really lead to a much better sense of student ownership, and kind of getting that idea of what it's going to be like in their classroom. So again, it's those high expectations that students are aware of. It's also the idea of giving students choice and autonomy. So there's nothing greater than those opportunities for inquiry. Inquiry is that space where students get to decide what they're passionate about and where they can go. And we have these wonderings where they get to then drive some of that work. Obviously with scaffolding, with support, with the teacher. But again, I've done a lot of work, not only with student inquiry at the elementary level, but I also use it with my pre-service teachers, where we've done a lot of work with inquiry, with thinking about innovation, we're thinking about design thinking, because we recognize that when the work is meaningful, when it's passionate, when it's something that we're passionate about, when we're being able to answer some of our own questions, that's where we see where students really start to take ownership of that work because they are invested in it. And it's really exciting to see what they've been able to accomplish as a result of that.